All right, moving right along. I'm so sorry, my notes got a little bit jumbled, but here we go. Great. So I would like to bring up this next speaker who, I had the opportunity to watch a snippet of their TED Talk, and I was blown away. They are a member of our brother organization from the U.S., but I'm going to introduce the presenting partners. Sorry, I'm mixing up my notes here. I'm going to introduce the introducer. So please gladly welcome to the stage Casey Oakes from Marriott.
I apologize to Lena. I brought two pieces of paper up on stage. So good morning, everyone. My name is Casey Oakes. I'm Director of Global Supplier Diversity for Marriott International, and I'm so excited to be here. This is Marriott's first year as a partner of the CGLCC and first time sponsoring this event. So thank you so much for having us. It's really important for us to be here. Marriott has a public commitment to achieve $1 billion in global spend with diverse-owned businesses by the end of next year. And Canadian businesses and LGBT businesses will very much be a big part of us achieving that goal. So I'm very much looking forward to meeting many of you at the roundtables later today and continuing the conversations we've been having this week. I am up here today, though, to introduce our next session, which is on self-care while scaling your business. I like to think we at Marriott know a little bit about scaling businesses. We started as a 9-stool root beer stand in Washington, D.C., and just last month we opened up our 7,000th hotel worldwide, including over 200 here in Canada. I think, Daryl, you'll be at one for the Black and White Summit later this fall, so that's fantastic. That journey for us has not always been easy, and it really comes down to a culture that emphasizes care. Mr. Marriott has a saying, if you take care of your associates, they'll take care of your customers, and they'll come back again and again. But for the founders in the room, the CEOs in the room, the managers of other people in the room, to be able to take care of your associates, first you really need to take care of yourself. And so I'm so excited today that Marriott is presenting a session on self-care, and hope that each of you in your days will take some of the tools and tips that we're about to learn so that you can empower yourself to empower your associates and then the communities and guests that you're serving. So with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. Veronica Kirin is a serial entrepreneur, coach, and author. She's the founder of the award-winning Green Cup website services, author of Stories of Elders, and we'll be doing a signing here in Toronto this weekend, executive producer for the indie film Lend Me Your Light, an entrepreneur coach to audacious empire builders who want to scale their businesses so they work less, grow faster, and earn more. Her work as a coach is certified by the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce and is known for her trademark Self-Care Through Scaling program. Please welcome to the stage Veronica Kirin.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. Yeah, I'm American. I feel so honored. Thanks. I'm so thankful to have been witness to the amazing statistics that we heard yesterday about what queer businesses are doing in Canada, to witness the amazing work of the CGLCC, and to hear what the special advisor to the Prime Minister spoke about this morning. It really actually brought me to tears. We're not quite there yet in America. We are whispering back and forth that I need to move to Canada, so we'll see how this goes, but it's really been an honor to be here, and I'm so thankful to meet every one of you. With running a business, with being queer in business comes stress, and so is apropos to be talking about self-care this morning. So I'm going to dive right in because we're going to be talking about both self-care and scaling. There are a lot of myths rampant about scaling. Things like it takes a lot of money, you have to be Fortune 500, you have to hire, and it's actually going to give you more work, which is my favorite one to debunk. So the goals of today, in the short period that I have you, are to help you understand that scaling can impact a business of any size, and that self-care can be a part of your business plan, and get you thinking long-term. And I don't mean a 5-year plan, I mean a 20-year plan. So who am I? Yes, I am an audacious entrepreneur. I have been a serial entrepreneur since 2010 when I founded my first nonprofit organization. I scaled and sold my tech company in March of last year in order to go full-time as a coach because I figured out the formula for scaling. I realized that so many of my peers were struggling with it and really subscribing to the idea that you need to hustle in order to win in business, and I want to work to relieve entrepreneurs in order to help them build their empires and really impact the world for life. So what you're going to learn today is the mindset shift that I had when I realized what scaling truly meant, how to scale any business of any size, and then also actually more than 3 things that you'll need in order to continue to self-care, work-life balance within your business, and empower your employees and peers to do the same. Okay, and there's going to be a free gift as well at the end because this is going to be really fast, and I don't want to leave anybody hanging, so stay tuned on that. So before I scaled my business, I was exhausted. I was working 70 hours a week at my tech company. I was in the middle of researching and writing my book, Stories of Elders. I was launching a startup. It came to the moment that I had to decide not whether or not I would continue to work in my business and be an entrepreneur, but whether or not I was going to continue to live. I was that burnt out. So, first came the mindset shift. I was trying to do way too much all at once. Who identifies with that word? Hey, everybody. Okay. Today I call it Foundations of Empire Building. What the heck is an empire, though? I'm not talking about conquering. I'm not talking about country founding, although if you want to found a country, I'm sure any of you in this room would found something really beautiful with a really amazing culture. What I mean by an empire is a multiple set of offerings from an individual or group of people that impacts your community and maybe even the world. I think a lot of us identify here as long-term visionaries. Can I get a set of hands for that? Yeah, yes, definitely. So that's what I'm talking about. For me, it meant realizing that I don't need to do everything at once. I had subscribed to a myth that everything had to happen now because life was short, time was short, my competitors were gonna get me, and I had to go, 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 go. Let's talk about sleepless nights, stress, bags under the eyes. I see smiles, I see nods, like everyone's like, yes, help me. Right. You don't have to do everything right now. You have absolutely been given a vision by the universe, by God, by whomever you believe, and that can last your entire life. Instead, what I teach entrepreneurs to do is to start with the lowest barrier to entry. Now, you may be already in business and you have like 20 more ideas, right? What's the lowest barrier to entry? Where do you start? It's either financial low barrier to entry, you have the most resources, you have the community already built, start there. Build skills, build a foundation, and then start thinking about how do these other pieces fit in as I go along so that you don't do just a couple years of work and look at the bottom line for each next quarter, but you're talking about a 10 and 20-year plan. For me, just as a piece of perspective, I've got my first book out. I'm in the middle of writing my second book. I'm coaching entrepreneurs. I've been doing my coaching for 2 years. Now it's time for me to launch my private group. Next year, my retreat. In 10 years, a retreat center and vineyard in Croatia. Yes, I'm Hrvatica, I am Croatian. So long term. Long term. Could I be going for the vineyard in Croatia right now? Sure, that'd be fun. Would I be feeling like I was about to die? Yeah, I'd be exhausted. Do I need to write all my books right now? No. I believe I have 70 more years on this earth, and I'm going to make it rock. That is foundations to empire building. Okay, so this is the juicy stuff. My 3 pillars to business scaling. This boils down 5.5 years at my tech company into 5 or 10 minutes. So I'm going to get through this with you guys, and then we can talk after as well. So what is scaling? Who's heard that word ever? Everyone should raise your hands, right? Because, yeah, we've heard it a lot this weekend. And a lot of times we hear it in reference to EY, Marriott, a lot of really, really big companies. But scaling can happen on the small end as well. Scaling simply means building your business in a way that it can grow exponentially, which means we have to work you out of the business. At my tech company, I thought I had to stay in the business in order to keep it going because I was the only female, queer, anthropologist running a tech company. Who could do it? Was I ever going to find another female queer anthropologist in tech? I was wrong. Okay, so with scaling, first we start with the areas of your business that are the low-hanging fruit. Like I said, one of the biggest myths with scaling is that it's going to cost you money and it's going to add to your plate. Now we're going to start with the things that are actually going to be free to start you scaling and are going to take things off your plate. So the first pillar is automation. Lots of tech out there that can automate your business, lots of tech that's free, things like calendar scheduling apps, project management tools. We're looking at things that happen repetitively within your business and don't necessarily need human contact in order to make it happen. It may need a tweak every so often to maintain, but really, it doesn't need you. I thought it was nice to be able to work with my clients and say, what time works for you? Where would you like to go? And get that human contact in there. And I know we all believe in human contact. I really do. But what it was doing was just adding a whole lot of back and forth to both our plates. And it's just as simple and just as nice for them to get the calendar app and select what time works for them, just like what we were achieving before, and to add the place, or in my case now, it's all virtual. So it automatically generates the link to my Zoom, my video conferencing. Simple. Because now I had something that I could study, and I could figure out how to continue to tweak it, make the wheel go round. Again, my stress went down, my time went up, and my conversions went up. Okay, and now pillar 3, hiring. So this is where a lot of people think, okay, this is all that scaling is bringing people on to do the work. Once you've automated and once you've systemized, your time is more free to go out and bring in more clients, get more customers, build more products, and once you get to the point of hiring, your revenue has already grown. Now you're comfortable hiring. And now hiring means that, yeah, things that you think you have to be doing, but do you really? How many of you here think like you're the only one that can actually do what you're doing? Get some honest hands up. Okay, thank you for those of you that were honest. I told you my story, right? I told you I was the only anthropologist in tech. I could see into target markets like a magician because I'd been trained to do it. No other tech person had ever been taught that, right? I thought for sure I could never hire somebody who could build websites, develop online marketing like I was. And then I found Kendra. She was better than me. We get ourselves into a mindset of believing that we are the only ones that can do it, but we're sitting in a room of diverse, amazing people, and I know that every one of you have met, have thought, wow, what an amazing person. You all are so brilliant. The light is shining behind your eyes. I know if I ever wanted to outsource anything to any of you, you would take care of it well. So let that be a reminder to you that not only are there amazingly smart, wonderful people out there who would gladly help you in your work, but you also can distill your secret sauce in order to train. And that's where the magic happens. I helped Kendra learn my processes because, again, I'd systemized my business. All I had to do now was hand it over. Trained her on my systems and processes, my IP, and she was better at the marketing online than I was. And so voila, the business grew again. Okay, that was a really fast overview of scaling. Let's get to the self-care part. What happens again when you scale? Your time begins to open up. I went from 70 hours a week at my tech company to 10. By the time I sold my tech company, I had just returned from traveling in 3 weeks in Europe for 8 different countries. All I had to do was check in a couple hours a day, make sure the wheel was still turning. Everybody was still empowered to do the work that they needed to do. With all that time, what could I do? Self-care. I could see my family. I could see my friends. So, why is self-care important? I want to start by asking, who here self-cared this morning before they came to the event? Yes, yes. This table over here is like fantastic. Yeah, okay, so maybe like a third of you all did self-care this morning. Who here, like in general, has a self-care practice in their lives? Yeah? Oh, good, okay. Oh, this whole side of the room lit up, yay! But we have to work on making it a little bit more regular, yeah? I'm in a smaller room where there wasn't a whole lot of room to do yoga, but I still want to make sure I got my self-care in this morning, so I found a YouTube video for yoga on the couch. If we make it a habit, we can find ways to make it fit no matter where we are, even when we're traveling. So self-care is important because we are big visionaries. We have huge ideas for the world, and we don't want to stop. I am pretty sure many of you have never even taken a moment to consider what retirement would mean. I know I don't intend to ever retire. I do know that my audacious plan for the next 70 years is going to look a lot different as I grow and change and evolve, and I've planned for that, but I don't intend to retire. Self-care helps you keep going so that this can be lifelong work. So, okay, so for those of you that don't have a self-care practice, here are some examples of self-care. Now you see a lot of the nice, comfy, froofy things, yoga, meditation, bubble baths. Also, go to the doctor. Go to the dentist. I heard some snickers, yeah. Do the uncomfortable things too, because this is your anchor to the world. And if you want to be here doing your audacious work, you got to take care of your body too. And take yourself out on dates. We'll talk about that in a second as well. Okay, so rules to avoid losing your shit. Hello, I'm human, I swear. If you all want to know a little bit more about this, you can go on my website. I have a whole blog post, the 8 rules for avoiding losing your shit. But this is the quick overview. Things like pee, shower. Has anyone ever sat at their computer and realized they're really mad at their computer, and then they're like, oh, I haven't eaten. I haven't gone to the bathroom. It's not the computer's fault. I'm just not doing what I need to do to maintain myself, right? Set yourself a boundary for time. Try to do the Pomodoro method. Work for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. Get up and pace. Draw the line. So again, set a boundary for your time. What are your work hours? If you're an entrepreneur, no one's telling you when to be at work and what time and where and to stop. And if you're not an entrepreneur, can you stand up to your boss and say, hey, yeah, I don't really want text messages on weekends. How can we create a system that empowers you to still contact me, but empowers me to take time? And if you're employers, how do you empower your team to have good work boundaries as well, to keep that work-life balance? And as you can see, the pictures are computers in dark rooms, so imagining people working late at night. If you're going to do that, make sure that you're doing that with balance. So let's talk about partner buy-in. As entrepreneurs, again, we have huge visions for the world. We want to see wonderful things come to fruition, and we're going to be working and hustling in unconventional ways. Sometimes it can be hard to be partnered with somebody or somebodies who don't necessarily understand the life of an entrepreneur. I've struggled with this myself. Has anyone else struggled? I'm seeing so many nods over here. Yeah, it can be hard. But as we let our partners in and explain why this particular week I'm working late every night, We've got a huge launch we're doing. We're doing a pivot. I'm hiring for the first time or the 20th time. Our partners can get on board. They can help us with our self-care. They can help us by making a meal for us, cheering us on. Isn't it nice to go home and be able to say, I landed the deal, and your partner was with you through the whole process, so they're like, yes, open the bottle of wine, right? If we let our partners support us, they will. Okay. And of course, your family. And what I mean by family is not necessarily blood relatives. I know a lot of us have chosen families, but we want to see them, right? Make sure that you are taking care of your family with intention. So this is all boiling down to intention with time. One of the hardest stories that I received in my work was with a man who was working 50 hours a week at his day job, and then another 20 hours a week side hustling. He had 4 kids, and he was partnered. And he admitted that he would be out of the house before the kids woke up and would come home by the time the kids went to bed. He didn't see them. So one of the first things that we instituted for his business was a structure where he was taking his kids on dates each week. 4 kids, 4 weeks in a month. Every weekend, 1 kid got a half day with dad. That changes a child's life. Focus time with a parent. And then also, weekly dates with partner. For me, I started instituting monthly brunch with my chosen friend family because I wasn't seeing anyone nearly as enough as I wanted to. And it was very important for me to see my friends. So I told them, come over, I'll feed you for free. And they did. Okay, so we've gone through a lot of material, I realize that. We covered foundations for empire building, my 3 pillars for business scaling, and self-care through scaling. Now, I want to take it out to questions, but this is where I also want to give you my gift. Everyone here today is receiving 40 minutes with me, free of charge. I want to be able to empower you to scale your businesses, and I want you to understand exactly how what I just showed you can work for each and every one of you. Everybody's business is different, and this was super fast. So there are cards on the table. They're purple. If you just put your name and email address on the card, I'll come get them during break. And then I'll get you the link so that you can schedule the call. And then, of course, my social's right there. Would love to have you follow. And how might I take questions while you fill out those cards? We've got some microphone runners. Questions, questions, questions.
You don't have questions?
Got one over here. We've got a taker.
Where?
In the back here. Bruno.
Hi there, Peter X, Corporate Specialty. On the second last slide, you had something about a self night. Oh, yeah, not that one, the next one, the previous one. Alone time, self dates. Can you please talk about that? You didn't quite get to that, please.
Definitely, absolutely, self dates. So you, again, are pouring out your cup into the world constantly. Right? Especially with creative energy going out. So it's very important for you to keep your own foundation really steady. And I found that self-dates, just go out to an art gallery by yourself, go to botanical gardens, go for a walk, go see a movie. Doing it with yourself helps you to get away from the chatter of everything else that is going on. Try and keep your phone off while you're out doing it. It is wonderful to share life with a partner and with friends, but by doing something solo, you also allow your own thoughts and opinions to form and to come to the forefront. I have had a lot of brilliant ideas when I was alone because I didn't have any other input but what I chose.
Yep. I think we've got a question here.
Okay, let's go inside the room and then we'll get you. Yeah.
Brilliant talk, by the way, thank you. I'm curious, as a fellow woman who's in tech, one of my fears about giving up control of I have to do it myself is that the straight white guy, if you will, comes in and displaces me. Did you face that, and how did you deal with it?
So I went through a couple different hiring waves with my tech company, and I did actually end up finding another woman in tech to take over the primary position. I did have male-bodied people working at my company as well. The thing is, ultimately we're looking for a certain set of skills and a certain personality fit, and that may be not a male-bodied person. Ultimately, you're still in control of your business. You're still making those decisions or training the person who's making those decisions in order to cultivate and create the culture, the position. And I always recommend documenting the culture as much as you can too, especially like in a handbook or something like that, so that when somebody's coming into the business and being trained, they realize that they're coming into something that has already been formed and certainly can influence it, but they're not just here to take over. They are landing someplace that has a foundation already. Does that help? Great. Yeah.
Hi, sorry. Steve Martin from Corporate Specialty as well. That was my husband that just spoke. Firstly, we didn't get any cards here, so we would appreciate that.
Oh.
And my second question, well, it's not actually a question, it's more of a comment. I know you touched quite a bit on the partner in your life and so on, and bringing them in, involved a little bit. One thing that I did is, over 12 years ago, I actually hired my husband to work alongside with me in the company. And you know what? I wouldn't change it for anything in my life. It works out great. I am one of the unstoppables. I'm constantly thinking of new ways. I have a business ongoing for 25 years. We also started a second business in the real estate side of things and travel, which is one of my most favorite things. I have scaled back and learned to let go of the reins a little bit and get other people involved in managing. The life is great when you learn to let go of the reins just a little bit.
Yeah, and I think it's actually a really great point bringing partners in, partners to be partners, right? The limitations of our language. So that's a really great touch on work-life balance. So if you feel that you have a partner that you do want to bring in your business, and some do, you really need to make sure you have those hard conversations about boundaries. What is work? When do we talk about work? When is okay to have those conversations and to be in that mindset? And then how do we cut it off and be able to transition back into our private life so that you don't have these bleeding edges and start to get confused, and then pillow talk turns into business talk, and now you don't know. You know? I work with a lot of co-founders as well who aren't partnered, but it's a similar concept where the conversation with friends that you want to bring into your business doesn't happen, and then all of a sudden one day you wake up and realize, I don't think they're pulling their weight, but the conversation never happened, so they didn't know what was their area and what was your area. So these are all very important if we're going to bring people on who we trust into our businesses, to make sure that we are having those deep conversations and sometimes hard conversations right off the bat, so that something like what happened to me, where my partner decided to leave the business and then the whole thing buckled, doesn't happen to you. That's another story. We got a hand here.
We have time for just one more.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're it.
Hi, thank you very much. With regard, I'm also a serial entrepreneur. How do you deal with the unpredictability of being an entrepreneur? So you're talking about making a process document so somebody can come in and take a lot of your stress away. And the issue I run into is the type of business I'm in is extremely unpredictable. So it's really hard for me to say, okay, well, today you do this. Well, not really. Maybe. Well, if this happens, we might be able to do this, but we might also have to do this, this, this. And that, for me, has been the biggest issue in trying to find somebody to offload onto because of that unpredictability.
What's your industry?
Manufacturing.
Manufacturing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so many, I can't even define it.
So with hiring, it can be very tricky. That's where, without being able to dive right into your business and like look at all the systems, because this is the moment where I'm like, oh my God, tell me more and tell me what you've done and da 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 da. So sometimes this can be a really good place for a contractor to step in and start training in a contractor, because the hours are going like this. And so they have an understanding like, yeah, I can do work for another company as well while this is going up and down, so that they're protected in a way as well. And then financially, budgeting, because again, with entrepreneurs, we can go like this, and the myth that we end up subscribing to is that entrepreneurship is a roller coaster and every other business is steady, but every other large corporation also has this. They just have been working with their budgets and financial planning in order to create a more even arc, and so that everybody's still getting paid at the same level due to savings and money management. So anyway, without knowing a whole lot more about your business, you may be wanting to look at somebody who is part-time or contractor to start, so that you can build systems in order to have somebody in the business, but kind of grow them as that position and area can grow. Does that help a little? Okay, good.
Great. Thank you. Oh, check. There we are. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's give Veronica another round of applause. I remember the first phone call that Veronica and I actually had together when we were first talking about the summit, and she said, tell me the reason that you feel that this is important. And we went on and on and on. And I said, well, I'm one of those people that just spins a mile a minute. People define me as manic at times, and same with my boss here. We both just we care so much, and we put everything that we have. And I said, well, look at you, Daryl. You were single, and I'm single. I think that self-care is a very important conversation. And when we look around the room, and when talking to some of our wonderful members, we find that there's a lot of business partnerships that started out as relationships are now our only business partnerships. And how are those relationships managed, et cetera, and how are we staying connected to not only who we are and who we love, but also being proud of what we do and taking the shame out of being a workaholic and being proud of being at work. And so Veronica was such a delight, and we just went on and on. We ended up gabbing, and every time we had the chance to talk, I just left that conversation just feeling at ease. And so if you want to know more, please feel free to pick up Veronica's book. She's also got a book signing here happening this Saturday, June 1st, kicking off Pride Month. The cards are on your table, so feel free to check those out. Also, take advantage of that wonderful free offer. I know that I will, and I'll be hitting you up again soon. So thank you so much, Veronica, for being here. Thank you so much for Marriott for bringing